Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the first ever A-Leagues with 1-0 show on the channel. And what an exciting time we have. The A-League is coming up very soon. I'm a massive Melbourne Victory fan, as we might know if you've seen some of my previous videos. What we're going to do is go through my A-League predictions. I'm going to give you my player of the season, golden boot, signing of the season. There's a couple of controversial picks in there, but let me tell you something, you're not going to want to miss it. I'll see you on the flip side of the intro, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said previously, if you are new to the channel, make sure to like and subscribe. I want to try and make 1-0 the new home of A-League, okay? You go onto YouTube, there's not that many YouTube channels out there focusing predominantly on the A-League. There's a football state, so shout out to you, mate. But there's not that many A-League channels out there. So I want 1-0 to become the new home of the A-League. We'd love to build up the football here in Australia. I'd love to build it up here in Melbourne especially. So we're going to have a good time, not a long time. Now, my ladder prediction in 12th position, ladies and gentlemen, and I feel sorry if there's any Kiwi out there watching Wellington Phoenix. I don't think there's really much to say. There's not much to say other than just... I think Stephen Taylor's a huge... I'll be serious. I think Stephen Taylor is a huge loss for Wellington. Yes, because he's a good player. Yes, he's old, but they've lost a lot of leadership there. They've lost just a big presence. And other than that, I just don't really see Phoenix... I just don't see them really having any sort of other edge over the other teams, because I will tell you something, it could be a very interesting season this year, the A-League, because there's a lot of good teams. I think there's a clear maybe top 3, top 2, which can vary, but there's very good mid-table teams. And I think that's going to be the most interesting part of the season, is how these mid-table teams can distinguish themselves from maybe the lower and the higher teams above. Okay, so... yeah, like we said, they've lost the Villa, they've lost Cameron Devlin, they've lost some big players. Devlin is actually tearing it up for Hearts, but Phoenix have lost some big players, and I think 12th position is theirs, unfortunately. Next up, we'll go to Central Coast Mariners, who I've got in 11th position, and once again, sort of similar to Newcastle, to Phoenix, sorry. Mariners had a good season last season. Okay, I think they got, the first half of the season was quite good because they had a lot of these young kids sort of just pop out of nowhere, really. And they were able to sort of build a bit of a team where they were using A-League players that weren't really giving opportunities at other clubs, but they were able to give them an important role in their team. So for that reason, I think Mariners have got to finish 11th, like what I was saying previously, not because I don't think they're a bad team. I don't think they have the quality of some of the teams above them, but because I look at this mid-table and the teams who have got to struggle to sort of be on the brink of finals, and it's very tough to choose. So for that reason, Mariners will go into the 11th position. Next up, in 10th position, we're going to go to Newcastle Jets. And Newcastle Jets, they've had an interesting off-season. Matthew German comes in, Dane Ingham comes in, Jordan Elsey comes in, which I think is a very good signing for them. They have lost Topper Stanley, they've lost O'Donovan, they lost Joey Chapman, the rapper. And again, Newcastle, for me, Arthur Pappas, the manager, and if you're here local in the football scene here in Melbourne, you know of that name, being quite involved with a lot of the local clubs around here. He's finally getting his opportunity in the A-League, so it's really the first sign that people are going to see of him. I've got slight concerns for Newcastle. I think they'll do okay. I think Dane Ingham is a good sign, just someone that they know that they can give them good performances week in, week out. Nothing too special, but something just to know that they've got some good stability there. And for that reason, I think 10th position could be fair for them, but at the same time, they might sneak a little bit lower down the ladder. Now, in 9th position, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go for Brisbane Roar. Now, call me controversial, call me whatever you want to call me. They've lost some good players. Jamie Young. To be honest, Jamie Young was a goalkeeper who, as a Victory fan, I always tended to sort of look at and like, damn, you know what? You're actually pretty decent. They've lost Jamie Young, the goalkeeper. They've lost Dylan Wenzel-Halls, which, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what they were doing with that. I'm not saying he's going to be a massive groundbreaker, but I think Wenzel-Halls was a good sort of player for them in the first half of the season as well last year. They have brought in Miljusinic, who was at Adelaide previously before going elsewhere. I think Miljusinic is a great signing for them. Other than that, they've made a couple of signings here and there, none of them really jumping off the page, but I think Brisbane Roar might take 9th position. And similar to what I was saying, what I've mentioned previously heaps of times now in this video, I find more teams better than them. It's not that they're maybe the ninth best team in the comp. It's I can find teams better than them, and I expect teams to be a little bit better than them as well. So for that reason, I think Brisbane, take ninth position. Let me know what you think down in the comments below where Brisbane Roar finish. A team that we know have had great success in the past, but recent years haven't been that great. Now in 8th position. So I'm just looking at I don't want to get anything wrong. Looking at my notes here. In 8th position, it's an interesting one. It's a very, very, very interesting one. In 8th position, it's between two teams personally for me. It's between Macarthur and Western United, in my personal opinion. And for that reason, it's tough. It's tough. It's very tough. For that reason, ladies and gentlemen, 8th position means they're missing out on finals. I'm going to go for Western United. And if there's a team that's going to surprise me, it's probably got to be Western United. They've brought in Jamie Young, they've brought in Kilkenny, they've brought in Wenzel Halls, they've brought in Garuccio, they've lost Berisha, they've lost Philip Curto. Again, Macarthur in 8th position. Western United in 8th position, and Macarthur in 7th position. I'll say it just there because I said it was between the two. I look at my biggest issue for Western United is John Aloisi. I'll be totally honest. My biggest issue with Western United is John Aloisi. All respect to the bloke, I just don't really personally rate him as a coach. I still think there's so many, and if you're avid follower of the A-League, you know all these memes that are coming out about, Western United's stadium and all that sort of stuff that's never going to be built. They've really recently released a new promo video saying sort of trying to hype up some derbies against Melbourne Victory and create a rivalry. Personally, as a Victory fan, I don't really care about Western United. I think the best thing Western United did was go and sign Berisha because then it gave us a reason for them not to want to do well, because I don't want to see Berisha do well at another Melbourne team, which they didn't, but Victory also didn't do either. But in saying that, I think they've got some good players in there. I think Topper Stanley is a good signing. He's not going to be an A+ player every single week, but he's a good signing because he knows the A-League like the back of his hand. He's the godfather of the A-League, Topper Stanley. And I think it's important to have someone like that in the club, and especially at a club like Western United where they're still very new in their career and where there's a lot of stuff moving around, behind the change rooms as well, just more corporate sort of sense. For that reason, I'm going to have Western United, in 8th position. And as I mentioned previously, I'm going to have Macarthur in 7th. Now, these two are the teams that I think could possibly change. There's also another team who's, in my opinion, has made the finals, but could drop out. But in 7th position, I've got Macarthur. And I look at who they brought in. Craig Noon, Melbourne City player, former Melbourne City player. Tom Urich, who was at Adelaide but now has come to Macarthur. Daniel De Silva and Ulysses Davila. Those two players make me excited. Those two players, if I'm a Macarthur FC fan, I look at and I go, ooh, I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. I do look at who's left, and I look at Genro, Derbyshire, Susayeta, Milligan. I also look at Federici retiring only very recently after they also did just announce him as captain. And I look at that and I go, is there some sort of issues at Macarthur? What is sort of going on? Or is this are we just looking too much into it? I think we possibly could, but I think 7th position for Macarthur, just missing out on finals. I think we've got 3 teams fighting for 6th and 5th position. And I look at Macarthur, I just think there's something just still not there. I think it's still just not clicking. Big up James Meredith, fan of the channel. We interviewed him. Go check that out. Hopefully he has a cracking season. But there's something about it where I just don't really see going and giving them a push in the finals, because I think there's still 2 teams better than them to sort of block them out and keep them out of the finals, with the team in 6th position who I have scraping the finals being Adelaide United. Now, yes, I'm a Victory fan and I hate Adelaide United. I know I'm wearing red and it's disgraceful, but I think you can always sort of bank on Adelaide United to give you a decent season. I think the manager is a top tier manager. I quite like him. Some interesting losses though. Strain. Okay, Jordan Elsey, Tom Urich, players that I thought, especially the defenders, some players that I thought were Adelaide United through and through, and players that I thought Adelaide United would try and keep. They've brought in Johnny Ewell, Popovich, Nick Ansell, Blackwood. They've made again. Isaias comes in. If you're an avid fan of the A-League, you know who Isaias is. Cult figure at Adelaide United. Been to Highmarsh Stadium. Just a little sneaky thing. We've got cousins in Adelaide. Shout out. Fuck Adelaide though. I don't like Adelaide. No, the team. Again, 6th position. If there's a team that I think can drop out, I think it's Adelaide United. Something about them, again, if there's a team that can drop out, Adelaide United. But also, the team that's in 5th position that I've gone for, Perth Glory. Now, Perth Glory, Daniel Sturridge's Perth Glory will finish 5th in this year's A-League season. And I'm going to put it down to some factors. Richie Garcia? Don't know. I don't know if he can coach Perth Glory to a championship right now. Something about him, I just think he's still quite inexperienced. He could shock me. I still think he's quite inexperienced. And you're going to want to stick around to hear my thoughts on Daniel Sturridge, because I don't think he's going to be what we want him to be. Okay, and I'd love to see him be well. I'd love to see him do well. I love the Sturridge signing. I'd love him to do bits at Perth, except for win the league, because Melbourne Victory will do that. But I want him to do well because I want the A-League to sort of grow in that mainstream sort of media sense. But I don't think he's going to be able to give Perth Glory constant performances week in, week out. Could totally prove me wrong. Clip this, do whatever you want with it. Could prove me totally wrong. But I don't think he will be able to. And for that reason, I've got Perth Glory finishing 5th on the ladder, staying outside the 4th. And for that reason, I'm also going to say, I think Perth, Adelaide, Macarthur, Western United are fighting for 5th, 6th position. I truly do. And I know what you're saying, but they've got Daniel Sturridge. They've got to be unbelievable. They very well could be, but I don't think they will be. Now, heading further up the ladder, we're getting into the juicy part. 4th position, ladies and gentlemen. 4th, my prediction to come in. It's somewhat, and I'm looking at who they brought in. Hey, we could be seeing the top four clubs being from 2 states. And I think I'm excited for this season, guys. I'm excited. I'm very, very, very excited. Because I think we're going to see the rejuvenation of these clubs and fan bases. Because Western Sydney Wanderers, ladies and gentlemen, got to be finishing 4th this season. Rami Nazarene. Big signing. Dama Traore. Terry Antonis. Victory fan, it kills me. I love Terry. Terry Antonis, my favourite player. One of my favourite players of all time for Victory. Reece Williams. Dimi Petrados. And Johnny Kutrumbas. Brilliant signings. They're very familiar A-League signings. But that's what you sort of want for a team like this. They've lost Bruce Kamau. They've lost McGowan. They've lost Muller, but I don't think it's a really big loss. Other than that, they've lost like squad players. But they brought in some good players, man. Terry Antonis, great. Petrados. He's always been one of my favourite non-Victory players, Dimi Petrados. I think Western Sydney Wanderers in their 10-year anniversary could be on for a huge season. I know I've got them 4th on the ladder, but I expect them to make a deep push into the finals. The new final system, 2 legs. I think a home leg at Western Sydney Wanderers' home ground, the new stadium, is going to be one of the hardest places to go. If they can get their fan base support, what they call them, the BRB, no, that's the B right back. Who do we sing for? We sing for them, the weirdos. Yeah. If they can get them fully back behind them and incorporate them once again, because yes, I didn't like them, but at the same time, I love them because you want the atmosphere at the games, and I think it's going to be tremendous stuff for Wanderers. And that takes me to 3rd position. And we're going to go over to the other team in Sydney and go for Sydney FC. That's right. Sydney FC are going to finish 3rd. They've brought in Donachie, they've brought in O'Toole, they've brought in Elvis Kamsoba. If Elvis Kamsoba has a very, very good season at Sydney FC and scores goals for fun, I am going to flip my head. Elvis Kamsoba cannot have a good season at Sydney FC. He can't. I love the guy. Big ups Elvis. I hope you do for your personal sake. But please don't. Please. Because you couldn't score for Victory. He's a very energetic player. It's an interesting signing for Sydney. Not a player that I think Sydney FC would have signed. Max Burgess is a very good signing for them, actually. They've lost a couple players here and there, Ryan McGowan, Bohman, but I see two teams better than them, and I expect them to have a similar season to Western Sydney Wanderers in the sense of they're going to be good, but there's teams a little bit better than them, and they're going to be difficult to face, and they're going to make a deep push in the finals. Now, in second position, ladies and gentlemen, second position, might need to take a quick, because it's getting tasty. Second position, Melbourne City. Yes, that's right. Second position, I actually just recorded a TikTok about Melbourne City. Their front three: Matthew Leckie, Andrew Nabut, Jamie McLaren. Unbelievable. That's got all possibilities of being the best front three in the A-League. 100%. 100,000%. It could, if they can get it right. I think McLaren will bag in goals. I'm very excited to see Leckie here in the A-League, because he's been one of these few Aussie guys who's been able to go overseas and stay there for a great period of time. Now he's come back to the A-League. He wants the game time. He's going to be pushing for a Socceroos, but almost similar to a Nabut type when he came back to the A-League. He fell out of flat favour and he wants to make a push for the Socceroos. I see a lot of similarities here with Matthew Leckie. Leckie's been a constant Socceroos player, but slowly starting to get not out of favour, but maybe not as certain as what he'd like to be with the emergence of Owen Mobile in that similar sort of position. Also, maybe competing against Nabut for the Socceroos position as well. I think all three of those have something to prove with the World Cup coming up soon, but also to prove just to the fan bases and just to the fans here in Australia, like, hey, we've been overseas. Like with Leckie especially, we've been overseas. Now look at what we can do here. And these three can really turn it up. They can turn it up 100%. They can flip the league on its head. And for that reason, I've got them second. I don't have them winning the league. Purely because winning the league, in my eyes, is Melbourne Victory. I know what you're saying. You're a little bit biased. Yeah. But I think if Victory don't finish first, I think the lowest we finish is fourth or third. I saw Jason Davidson in Sorrento, and mate, he's looking fresh. I saw him in the distance, but hey, he's looking good. Yeah, he's ready for a big season. Big boy Tony Popovic is coming in. I made a rant video on Victory last, not a rant video, a video where I expressed my opinions. I made a video on Melbourne Victory last season saying Tony Popovic is the man that we need. I love Grant Bremner, but hey, Big Popper, come to me, okay? We need Tony Popovic. What are we going to do? When I got Tony Popovic. Brilliant. Fantastic. Great. Now we've got someone we can be certain on, and we have a bit of a style. Okay? He's brought in Davidson, player that he's familiar with at Perth Glory. Brilliant left back. Josh Brillante. Oh, he's personally the one I'm most excited to see, because he's also been one of my favourite players outside of Victory since he was playing at City, at Sydney, and all that sort of stuff. Josh Brillante, fantastic midfielder, and he's a Victory midfielder. A lot of the players I'm looking at scream Melbourne Victory, and something that I feel like we've been missing in recent years. Performances haven't been there. As a fan, personally, the connection hasn't been there either, and that's something that Melbourne Victory sort of pride themselves on, like the connection. You look at Archie Thompson; he's a cult figure. He's everybody's second dad. You know, everyone loves Archie, but now that was sort of lost a little bit. Now we look at it, and I look at Matthew Sporanovic, fantastic, another an established centre-back, someone who's familiar with Popovic as well. Jason Garia, a Victory fan favourite. Nick D'Agostino's got to come in with a bit something to prove. Could also be fighting for a Socceroos position, maybe. Chris Economidis. Oh, damn. Damn. Victories win the league, baby. I'm keen. I'm very excited. Chris Economidis was a bit quiet-ish towards the end of the last season. He's another one fighting for a Socceroos spot. Popovic likes him. He brought him to Perth. Now he's brought him to Melbourne. Big. We've signed Kalava, the goalkeeper. Another, once again, strengthening a weakness. Okay. Unfortunately, ever since Lawrence Thomas left, we really couldn't settle on a goalkeeper. Brought back Nick Grove. We know he's a Victory fan. I love it. I honestly love it. Brendan Hamill. I think personally for me, the defence was the biggest issue. We've gone and done that. We've done that well. We've done it well. We've gone in new. We've gotten rid of a lot of dead wood, if I'm totally honest with you. And we've been a little bit ruthless as well. I think McManaman was a little bit unlucky because I think he was good, but just the whole team around him wasn't working. Dylan Ryan was obviously on loan. Max Rocombe's gone. Storm Rue's gone. Nick Ansell's gone. But I like it. I think it's time for a bit of fresh blood. I think Victory fans need to get incorporated once again. We haven't been able to have fans at games for feels like 2 years now. From day one, put in good performances, get the club behind you, get the team behind you, incorporate more people, and let's get excited. So, ladies and gentlemen, for that reason, Melbourne Victory is, in my eyes, going to win the league. I think player of the season is going to be Matthew Leckie. And I think Golden Boot will go to Jamie McLaren. So I know what you're thinking. Hold on, so it's arguably the two biggest awards are going to go to City players. Yes, I think it's going to be neck and neck the whole time. Neck and neck the whole time. And I think signing of the season is going to be Chris Economides. That's right. Chris Economides. So ladies and gentlemen, if you did enjoy, please make sure to like, subscribe. Like I said, 1-0. I wanted to become the new home in the A-League. I want you guys sitting there watching at home. Grab your dad, grab your mum, grab your best mate. You want to find a place to come and watch A-League on YouTube, 1-0's the place for you. Let's have a good time, ladies and gentlemen. Melbourne Victory, the boys in blue. I'm excited. Drop in your predictions on where your club is going to finish this current season. And I'll see you next week for another A-League video. Deuces.